every single one of our major customers and minor customers all shut their doors overnight.
You need the right people in the right place at the right time. And sometimes you have the right people in the right place, but at the wrong time.
I've got to keep going forward. I've got to keep looking for revenue streams. I've got to keep looking for growth, keep looking at new ways of doing things.
But, what's the culture like at the business? What do we stand for, the values?
I've got to tick that box on my personal development program I don't really want to be here.
Scaling up a business isn't easy. If it were, we wouldn't have less than 4% of businesses scaling beyond 10 employees or around £1 million turnover level, and less than 1% beyond 50 employees. But the contribution that we make as owner-managers to our economies is immense and should never be underestimated. Yet it can be a tough gig for all of us at times, and only other business owners truly understand the challenges that we face. And through ScaleUp Radio, we aim to help make things a little easier. We interview guests who have been where you are now and may have faced some of the challenges that you are facing. And they offer their thoughts and advice on what has worked for them, as well as what didn't. And we've also combined many of the lessons from these interviews, and also through working with hundreds of owner managers over the last 10 years or so, into a practical scale-up handbook that we've called the Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System, or ESUS. And it's for owner managers like you and me as we navigate our own scale-up journey. And you can order a copy through your favourite online book retailer, or by going to all the W's, esusgroup.co.uk, www.esusgroup.co.uk.
Welcome to this week's episode of ScaleUp Radio. I'm Granger Forson, and I've been speaking to Clare-Louise Freeman from Zig's Exercise. Zig's is a little different from other exercise businesses that you might have seen. They provide a safe and friendly space for people to explore their health, nutrition, and wellness, as well as develop their fitness. I first met Clare-Louise at a networking event where she introduced herself while standing on her head and then flipping over backwards to stand up. What a sales pitch. Claire has got a lot of experience in being a business owner after starting her scale-up journey just over 25 years ago. We cover an awful lot of ground during this conversation, including things like the decision to go with your gut. Just because your family or those around you say you should be going in one direction doesn't mean that you have to do as they say. Having the benefit of a team working remotely and even taking the entire business into the virtual space, and finding that inner strength to keep going, getting inspired by others and knowing that you can do this. What is so refreshing to hear in Claire's enthusiasm, not just for the industry that she's in, but also for the whole concept of running your own business. I know you'll really enjoy this episode. So let's go and hear Clare-Louise. So, hello, Clare-Louise Freeman, and welcome to ScaleUp Radio. Please introduce yourself and your company and tell us what you do.
Hi, Granger. Thanks for having me on the show. My name is Clare-Louise Freeman. I'm the business owner of Zig's Exercise, and we provide a safe, friendly space to help people explore their health, their well-being, improve their motivational issues and body confidence. And I've been doing that for the last 26 years.
Excellent. 26 years. So where did you start? What did you start with, and what got you going in this?
Well, if I rewind back to 26 or something years ago, I was doing a sedentary office job, which I knew back in my 20s was really not what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do back then. I was trying to figure it all out in my younger days. And with the office job that I was doing, we were given a cheap gym membership. So I knew I needed to work on my own health and well-being. So I went along to an aerobics class which was being taught by a northern lady who was great fun. And I thought, I'd done a bit of dance training when I was younger. Maybe I could give that a go. So I took an aerobics qualification. And I was trying to run and do swimming and things like that to improve my own health and well-being. But then actually I had an accident, sadly. So I found myself at the top of a high diving board at Stafford swimming pool. And as I teetered out off the edge of the board, rather than gracefully Tarzan diving into the water, the board hit the back of my heels, and I plummeted down into the water, a shockwave of pain through my body. And my boyfriend then, now my husband, and two of his drinking buddies hoisted me out of the water and said, well, can you walk? And I thought, well, actually, no, I can't. So what to do with my, newfound career that I was going to do? How does this work when actually I've really hurt myself? So I did the right thing, went to see a physio that was recommended to me. And actually, when I look back, that physio really kind of steered my career, because he encouraged me to do things like yoga and Pilates, more of the rehabilitation style of exercise. And he'd say really motivational things to me, like, I'm going to diagnose you with sciatica, and he helped me to work through that. But other motivational things like, do you realize you've got a frozen shoulder? Like I couldn't scratch my own itch behind my back. Or as he was massaging my foot, he'd say, you've got plantar fasciitis. So really, it was a journey of my own injuries and my own, want to be fitter and stronger and more flexible that really fueled where I am today when I look back. Yeah. So I hope that gives you a bit of background.
Yeah, that's great. So you set out on a journey to create a business. Did you have a business model in mind, or has that evolved? Tell us about your journey to date.
Yeah, for me, there was no thinking through the model. Truthfully, it was just about that want to improve myself, and actually by learning what would improve my own health and well-being, I could then teach to others. So I trained to be a Pilates teacher. I did lots of yoga training, and then I decided to do my exercise and health science degree, which is what brought me to Gloucestershire, which is where I work with people one-to-one or in small groups now, as well as online. And actually, I'd also be trained to be a Pilates teacher. So really, when I came to do my exercise and health science degree, it gave me a lot of the underpinning knowledge with the practical stuff that I was delivering. And when I registered for the degree, I'd sort of put off handing my CV in to a sporter at the time. And actually, by handing that CV in, I was then given like 24 classes around the county instantly, which helped to fund my university education. I did take a loan the first year and then thought, stuff that, and decided to do more work and study at the same time. I did look back at my CV actually a while ago and thought, how did I manage all those jobs at the same time? But yeah, definitely had the Wonder Woman pants on back then. But yeah, really, was there a business model? I guess I'd got this idea that I wanted my own studio, but I had no business training. Other than my parents, my mum and dad had singer sewing shops, so they owned franchises within that. So I'd got a bit of retail experience, and my dad had also sent me onto a summer job as doing an accounting job, which after I danced on the table, I knew was not for me either. But obviously accounting is very important in business. I've learned probably the hard way. Yeah.
So you've been going 26 years now, and you're a business owner operator. So just yourself. Have you a team at all in terms of people that help you, or is it still yourself?
Yeah, I have a small team. Would be lost without them. Very grateful, particularly having worked through hopefully the most of the pandemic now, or the worst of it at least. So there is myself. I have a PA who helps in the office and the studio. Pre-pandemic, there was 2 coaches also working within the business. It fell apart. I was completely face-to-face before the pandemic, and then I was obviously in that do or die situation of going virtual or closing the business. So I decided to bite the bullet and go virtual. We have someone who helps us with administration who works remotely. And currently I am recruiting. I'm looking at taking on a placement sports therapy student. And someone else does work part-time with me on the coaching and the classes as well.
Excellent. So recovering.
Oh, and my husband, not forgetting, who's amazing. I should have mentioned him first, really. I don't know what that says about me and our relationship, but yeah, he's an absolute trooper, and he helps. He's got a great business brain, very resilient and good with systems and all things tech that I'm generally hopeless with, and go, how do I do that? And he pitches in and normally walks into a room and all the computers switch on and do what they're supposed to.
So pre-COVID, you had 2 coaches and working out of your place. So what did COVID do in terms of driving to the virtual, and have you carried any of that going forwards?
Yeah, so we lost 40% of our business as we, we're in those early stages, and I did think, a couple of close people to me said, well, maybe you should just close the business down. And I did consider it as an option. I did think about, what were my options? Could I go and work for 111 or something like that if they needed help? And I did have to close the business down. But part of me just, that wasn't an option. And I just decided to dig deep. And I encouraged the people I was working with to just try one virtual session with me. If it didn't go well, I'd happily refund their money. But most people who did try went, okay, well, there's no other option at the moment, so let's give it a go. And there was a body of people that I worked with throughout the pandemic and helped them to get to a stronger, fitter, happier place. And I feel quite honoured that I was able to work with people during that time, particularly some of the older adults who maybe didn't go to town for a year. It felt like quite a privilege, actually. So I'm really proud of what we achieved, particularly in that first year of the pandemic. Because I'd never delivered Zoom exercise sessions. I'm like, how do I share the music? What buttons do I press? But we made a pinky promise to people that no matter how, technophobic they were, I would literally spend as long as I needed to on the phone with them to help them press the right buttons. And I do remember having 2.5-hour conversations with people, but we finally got them there onto Zoom. So yeah, it was a challenging time for people technologically, I think, as well as all the other stuff that goes with it.
And as we've come out of that now and moving forwards, what are your current plans? And you talked about the recruitment, but how do you interface with your customers now? And has it significantly changed, or are you doing a blended version?
Yeah, we've decided to continue with a blended version, actually, because I'm consciously aware that at any point I could get COVID, or one of my members can walk in with it, and I think I would probably want to do the right thing and not spread it around. In which case, if I was well enough to work, then I would just continue with the virtual for the time I was testing positive. Plus as well, we've attracted people from different parts of the country. I work with someone in London, someone else logs in from Brittany. So yeah, I'm now an international business, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, we're doing a mixed method. So people are either coming to see me in person, one-to-one, or they can do that via Zoom, or I also do something I call tribe training, where I create them a personalized training program and they can work within a small group, either in person or on Zoom, as well as our online Pilates and yoga classes as well.
So you've survived the pandemic and you're back into sort of growing mode, and you've been successful for 26 years in terms of coaching and helping people become fitter and more agile in their outlooks. So what do you think, what makes you different? You know, what do you strive to be best at?
What makes me different? Do you mean in the business or me personally?
Well, in terms of, you know, your business is successful, so there must be something about you that helps to achieve that.
I think for me, it's always the vision. It's having that drive with a slightly delusional vision, I think, sometimes. Always been known for having big ambitions. Like we used to do charity dance shows, and, you know, the first 2 hours, they were generally 2-hour rehearsals, but within the first 2 hours, I'm just warming up. And they'd often overrun like 3 or 4 hours. And, you know, people are flagging by that point and I'm just getting started. So I don't know, there's some kind of inbuilt resilience or something that just comes from somewhere that I learned to dig deep in challenging situations, I guess. I mean, my children were born by IVF, so I think that taught me a lot about difficult situations, and it definitely teaches you a lot about failure. And I think, you know, if you can just get up one more time, then that's the thing, and just continuing with the focus. It's having that hyper focus, and particularly, you know, through the pandemic, I remember being like ultra alert that week of lockdown, knowing what was coming, could see what was coming. I tuned into, you know, some of the bigger health professionals, Tim Spector, Michael Mosley, and I thought, you know, this isn't going to be short term. I could see it from a health point of view, what was coming. And I think it's sometimes that hyper awareness, listening to your gut and being really honest with yourself about what's ahead, and that tuning into those people that do know better, you know, it's humbling yourself to do that. Particularly in business, it's really important, I think, because they're your guides.
Fantastic. Yes, it's really important to keep your breadth of knowledge wide and to understand what's going on in the marketplace. Yeah, very, very true. And that's a really powerful thought and advice for other.
Yeah, and you know, like for me, for many years, I've worked with business coaches, and I've been in situations where I think entrepreneurship can feel like quite a lonely place. So, you know, I coach people with their health, their exercise, their well-being. I believe that you work as a coach as well, more for business. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, you and your with your expertise will be much further down the line than other people, and you know that can just save people years and years of heartache and worry, and you know, you can't really put a price on that.
So let's talk a bit more about your business in terms of your customers. So who would you class as an ideal customer, or you know, in terms of considerations you'd have?
Yeah, so I think when most people discover our service, what's happened is something's gotten in the way. So they know they want to exercise more. They know they need someone like me, but they've got a bit stuck. Either their motivation is low, or actually they're very, very busy and quite successful, but life's just kind of getting in the way. I guess I have a couple of different ideal clients, really. So a couple of people who've worked with me very long term are quite successful business owners. They've got you know, teams of sort of 25, 30 5 people, and they just want someone who will say, do this, follow that, log in at this time, and we just do it together. We get it in business as well. I set them homework and set them meal plans and that sort of thing. And that's the service that they're looking for. Some of the other people that I work with are sometimes retired or parents as well. And some people are kind of just looking for that way forward through an initial stumbling block. So let's say it's back pain, hip ache, feeling stiff, feeling achy, and they just are not doing enough to kind of get themselves over that inertia. And they're really looking for an official kick up the bum, to be honest. So I offer 2 initial consultations, and we, as well as start practicing some of the exercise together, we talk through, what are the barriers that are getting in the way? Where is our motivation at? What are our triggers for improving our motivation? What's keeping it stuck? For some people, there's kind of genuine fear there. Like at the moment, I used to work in falls prevention for Cotswold District Council. So I worked alongside the physios in some of the hospitals, like at Cirencester and Morton in Marsh. So one of the ladies that I'm working with at the moment has had fractures in her spine. So, I think for some people, there's a real fear there. They're worried that they're going to hurt themselves and overdo it. But by having someone who's got that expertise and knowledge, you can guide them through on what is safe and actually what's going to improve the situation versus what's going to put someone more at risk and, unravel what they've done. So I do work with quite a broad range of people. But generally people who know that they need to invest in their health and their well-being and the importance of that.
And how do they find you, Claire? What's their sort of route to market? Do you do any direct marketing, or how do you? Yeah.
Well, people can click on our website, zigsexercise.co.uk. There's a complimentary back care guide that I've created, which people can download from the website. That gives them a plan of action to help their back care as a sort of introduction to what we do. We're on Facebook. We've got free Pilates and yoga classes out on our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. So yeah, we make use of all the general social media channels. Yeah.
And do people come through those social media, or do you have any other ways that people normally come to you?
To be honest, from a marketing point of view, I think the majority of people come through referral and word of mouth. And also we do leaflet drops where we are locally as well. Ah,
interesting. So some physical marketing.
Yes.
Activity.
Yeah.
Some great thing in terms of that. So yeah, so mainly sort of referrals, etc. in terms of doing that. So do you do any referral marketing in terms of networking events or anything like that?
Yes, I network in B. Wilson's group. Actually, they had their first meeting in person post-pandemic in our studio. So that was really nice to be part of the Cheltenham Networking in-person group meeting. We're doing another one on the 4th of August. We're doing it at a farm led by a lady called Dordie. Can't think of the name of the farm, sorry, off the top of my head. But yeah, looking forward to doing that. I've subbed a few times at BNI meetings. We supported the Nelson Trust with a Steps for Freedom challenge in April. So as a team, we raised 1,200 and something pounds as one of the Steps for Freedom challenge teams. And I went to talk about that at BNI. So yeah, we're going to a big conference called EMC, which we have attended twice. The first 2 were in Brighton, this one's in London, the Entrepreneurs Marketing Conference led by Matt Wilson. Fantastic conference. Every entrepreneur should be there. It's I met Stephen Bartlett there last year. Karen Brady is speaking there this year, so definitely would not miss that one.
Fantastic tip. Thank you very much for that. I'll recommend that to everybody then. Very much so. So do you keep an eye, on the marketplace, what it's doing, its trends, your competitors?
Truthfully, probably not very much, if I'm honest.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Often we don't, and focusing on our own business in terms of delivering excellence is a far better way than always looking outwards in terms of what's going on. So let's go back through your last sort of 26 years of growth. I mean, it's really interesting in terms of the energy and drive and how did you put it? Your delusional focus on
delusional vision.
Delusional vision. I thought that was brilliant in terms of that. So give us some examples. What's gone right and what's gone wrong over the last years that you can give to our.
So many things. What to pick out? What's gone right is having that vision and listening to the gut. And having that sense of the greater good. What's gone wrong? Oh, well, I mean, I think business really is a series of going wrong, isn't it? And that's how we learn. I think, when I opened the studio back in the day, the kind of more tried to do the traditional thing without fully thinking it through and having a structured business plan. Although actually, if I'd have had that structured business plan, I probably never would have done it. But yeah, I've always been good at just taking a leap, hopefully in a good way. I think entrepreneurs do need to be risk takers, or else you will just never do things. But yeah, I think sometimes it's when you have this vision and you think it's going to be a certain way, but actually then you realize what the reality of that is. It's then always having that exit strategy and thinking, okay, well, where do I go from here?
I like that. Yes. The reality of the vision. Yes, we talking about when you have the vision and you take it to the market, is to go to the market. That's the real test. You can always have ideas, but until you test them, you don't actually know what's going to happen. So,
yes, and I think for me, I am a big ideas person. I do have lots of ideas, and it's then as an entrepreneur being able to implement those ideas, and then the reality of actioning and completion, that's a whole different ball game to, just having the ideas, isn't it?
Yes. So you've got some people that you work with that work for you in terms of bits and pieces, apart from your husband, because you don't really have a choice unless you decide not to work with them. How do you go about finding people that are the right fit for you to help your business? Yeah,
so it depends on what we're looking for. I've recruited quite successfully through Gloss Jobs, actually. So Belinda, who I was talking about in the networking group, Gloucestershire-based platform for advertising jobs. I think they're great. We've always had good candidates that way. Currently, we've got an advert out for a sports therapy placement student at the university. So that's the other avenue. I've used Indeed before, and sometimes, just through talking to people and word of mouth.
And how do you ensure they're the right fit for you in terms of your business and your passions?
Well, having done some business coaching, their motto was hire slow, fire fast. So that's always in my head. One of the things that they encouraged me to do was to, as an opening, check in on why they want the job. Are they passionate about it? Can they deliver what you're asking them to, or are they trainable? And do they have the capacity to deliver what you're asking them to do? But I guess for me, I would take people through a process. So it depends again on the role, but generally starting with simple stuff like CV, how they interact by email, how they come across on the phone, then how they come across virtually, how they come across in person, and again, it depends on the role. I guess I've looked at various techniques with recruitment. Strength Finder is something that I will always use before someone enters the team or as they enter the team as well. So Strength Finder helps you to zone in on what that person's strengths are, and it can help to steer people in the workplace, because if they're in the wrong role, then it's no fit for anyone.
Yes, very, very true. And interesting, Strength Finder, we use a disc profile within our processes. But yeah, it's more important to understand people as you bring them on to understand how they can grow and best fit your organisation. So as your business grows, cash is king, as we say. It's important to do that. So, how do you keep on top of cash and the finances in the business?
Yeah. So again, I think by working with a business coach, they helped me realize at one stage in my business that I hadn't put my prices up for 5 years. And I thought, actually, that's quite a long time. And I remember being in a seminar room full of other health and wellness professionals. And what the business coach got people to do was to stand up. If they put the prices up once, stand up. Have you put your prices up twice this year? Stand up. Done it 3 times, and there was a lady that had done it 4 times, and I thought, we can all learn something from you in business, can't we? So I think that moment kind of helped me with some money confidence really around my business, and not being afraid to do that, because at the end of the day, if you're not brave and do these things, then you don't have a business, and neither do your clients. And, if you offer a good service, then they're going to happily move with you.
So, yeah, great. Putting your prices up, managing your cash is really important. One of the other aspects we talk about is, your business processes, everything that goes on in the background that people don't actually see. So how do you ensure that the processes are successful for your clients?
So I guess my previous self, my past self, is probably quite disorganized, but actually anyone coming into our business would probably think we are quite organized, really. So we use active campaigns to manage our marketing, and we have various follow-up email sequences that automate in that. If someone's been to see us for their first consultation, then we'll follow up with information that's automated. The same for the second consultation. From there, if someone has decided to join our transformation plan, then that will automate another process. Then from there, for people's programs that I write, I've created a bank, like an exercise library of videos. So then we would pull videos into their personal training program, which then gets delivered to them in an app. We have a booking system. We use TeamUp for that. So that helps us to process payments and manage their bookings. We use something called Text Local, which helps us with our texting reminders that we do each week to help people show up. I think that's probably the bulk of our systems.
It's a lot of automation tools and things. So how have you learned those or got those into the business over time? Because we're always thinking about how to simplify and automate.
Yeah. How have I learned them? I'm a big fan of the toddler approach, which is to basically press all the buttons, and one of them will probably work. But very grateful for a techie husband who just, gets it. And sometimes I'll just say, can you sort that lot out? And he does. Or can you show me? And he shows me. And after a few times of giving it a go, I get there with it. And I think, one thing I've learned is to try not to be too afraid of the technology, because, it can really help us if we get it right in business.
Yeah, that's some really some interesting thoughts around automations and stuff, and having a go. Yeah, I believe in just having a go as well. The only way you learn it in terms of doing things. So
and be willing to fail and not get it right at times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So in your business, what do you love the most? What's the aha moments? The thing that really keeps you driving?
I love it when. Like someone I was training earlier, she went, "Oh, well, that's impossible. I can't do that yet." And if someone can't do something, I always encourage them to add the word "yet" onto the end, because this is the conversation I had with her, that in a few months down the line, she'll go, "Oh, I can do it now," and it's that transformation of going from can't do it to, well, maybe I could do it, or can't quite do it yet, or maybe I could do it, to, oh, I think I'm starting to do it. Oh, I could do it. That journey is really what I find fascinating and life-changing, and sometimes life-saving, actually. I know I've worked with a few people recently who've had some, serious health problems, and, just seeing someone's blood pressure go from that top end of the range where, they've just been put onto medication, to then actually in quite a short time, just getting that back into the healthy range. And it's things like that I find really motivating. And it's, by working with someone like me, you can get people out of quite difficult situations quite quickly sometimes, when it's those lifestyle changes. And in that sense, it's life-saving.
Yes, life-saving. What a fantastic statement. Yes, I was trying to summarize your thought there in terms of, what your passion is to see people succeed in something they thought they couldn't. But yes, life-saving. Wow, what a great statement. So you've been in the industry for 26 years. You came into it off the back of an accident, and then into education through it. So very successful. If you had a chance, what really frustrates you about the industry? Would you really want to change and stir it up?
I think what's the most confusing for people who are starting out in this industry is there are lots and lots of different and varied qualifications. Like if someone wants to become a physio, if someone wants to become a dentist, there's a clearer route. And there's been some maneuvers towards that clearer route over the years, but I still think it's very, very confusing for people because there are so many different avenues. And it's nice in a way because there's a lot of variety. But I think that's probably the most difficult part about the industry. I mean, over the years, they've created governing bodies. There was REPS. Actually, that disappeared in the pandemic, but it's now been taken over by SimSpa. Chartered Institute for the Management of Physical Activity. So there are regulating bodies. But yeah, someone I was interviewing earlier for one of our roles, we were kind of having this conversation about, that there isn't really a clear route. Yes,
it's interesting because often that's where the disruptors come when they can fix problems that are annoying everybody else. They're the people that can resolve those things. So,
but then also that is, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because what we do is probably quite unique. We can be quite a good bridge between, say, a physiotherapy service and people who want to, get back on, say, a horse or back to running or back to a commercial gym. We sort of bridge that gap for some people in the middle. We're quite niche in that way. Being able to create. I'm quite a creative, I think, because we've created our own sort of unique transformation plans is also something that's great about what we do.
Oh, that's amazing. So if we just sort of go back, say, maybe 15 years, so you've been in business for somewhere around about 9 or 10 years. If you had a magic wand, what would you do different back then to that you've learned today? What would you recommend to yourself?
Oh, probably just to make faster decisions. Don't overthink it. Just get on with it and decide. Make quicker, faster decisions. Yeah.
Brilliant. Make faster decisions. Yes, I love that one. Excellent. So you've been on a fantastic journey, and I love where you've come from in terms of what you've done, what you've achieved. 26 years. I love your delusional vision and your energy and drive in terms of how you've done stuff. I love the way that you recruit and have taken on people and the thinking and the structure of it, and that passion just to keep driving and going. And not giving up is absolutely brilliant. So let's go forward in time now. So if we were to meet, say, in 5 years' time from now, and we were now looking back for the last 5 years, what would you have done both professionally and business personally that would be those 5 years, next 5 years, are a success for you?
Yeah. So I think it's about growing the team from here, and also growing the number of people that we reach. So yeah, really about the numbers of supporting more people with their health, their well-being, their habits of flexibility training, and making a bigger impact, really. I'd also like to run some fitness, health, well-being retreats. Got an idea for a venue. I've got other ideas. Yeah, working on something with an engineer in the background. So yeah, it's exciting.
So what would get in your way in the next 5 years that would stop you from achieving that?
Oh, probably just my own. Can I use the word bullshit? In my head. Yeah, it's mindset, isn't it? More than anything, it's being bold and brave about what it is that you want to do and what you want to achieve. Yeah.
And do you do anything to help yourself in those sort of situations?
Yes. So I work with a group of business women called Bold Heart. Fabienne Fredrickson is the lead coach in that. So I have daily check-ins with an accountability buddy. We write out what our wins are each day. We write our 3 intentions each day. And I think that just helps with the focus. As entrepreneurs, I think we're very good at noticing what we're not doing. And actually, having done that exercise for quite a few months now, I think it really helps you to celebrate more of what you do achieve, because it's easy to think, oh, I haven't done this, haven't done that, oh, I'm behind on that. So yeah, just having those little mini wins, and that's something that I do in my coaching. Is at the end of each class, we'll say, okay, what's been the win today? What have we achieved? What are we feeling good about? So tuning into that, really.
Yes, applying the good stuff that we help other people with on ourselves.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think, yeah, just keeping that focus. Yeah. And again, just revisiting that vision at regular intervals makes a big difference. Talking to other entrepreneurs. I know by going to EMC this year, it will be 3 days of just immersion with other like-minded people, and really good stuff comes from that. Actually, the people that you meet and you network with, spin-offs of new ideas, it's following that process.
Well, Claire, thank you very much for this conversation. We always finish off with a little quick fire round in terms of this. So a few little questions come at you. First answer that comes to your head. Okay.
This sounds like fun.
And we'll finish off with how people can get hold of you. So, right, so first one. If you could go back to your younger you, what advice would you give yourself?
What would advice? Love just popped up into my head.
Fabulous. Which books would you recommend?
Tracks.
Who's that by?
I've forgotten.
Okay. We'll
I can look it up.
Don't worry, we'll do that. What podcast do you recommend?
Oh, definitely Stephen Bartlett's. Amazing.
What apps do you have on your phone that make a difference for you?
Oh, definitely Drops and Droplets, the kids version, which I do with my 4 to 5 year old, 4 3/4, he says. We use it a little bit every day. It's helped him have that little reward because he didn't sleep for the first 4 years. So, but he's now learning Polish from me and a bit of Portuguese.
Who's been the most influential person on you in terms of a business leader?
Lucy Johnson.
And what's your most successful marketing tactic or lead generation?
Talking to people.
Brilliant. And how can people get hold of you?
They can send me a text or they can email me info@zigsexercise.co.uk. They can go to our website, zigsexercise.co.uk, and fill in the contact form and drop us a message there.
Brilliant. Well, Claire, thank you so much for taking us on the journey of Zig's Exercise and everything you've achieved and done over the last 26 years. I've learned some really interesting thoughts today, and I love your delusional vision concept. I think that is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for sharing that with everybody.
Thanks for having me on, and it's good to chat.
Don't forget to take a look at www.bizsmarts.co.uk to access a great range of resources to help you in your scale-up journey. So that's bizsmarts.co.uk, which is bizsmarts.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.